Hey guys, it's Nelly. What's up? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be talking about brows. I have been getting so many requests from you guys and so many compliments. Thank you so much for those of you who like my brows. But for the past couple months, like my last couple tutorials, I've gotten so many requests to do like an updated brow routine. I haven't done one in years. I have to look up when the last one that I did was, but it's been a while. One of you guys DM'd me and requested it, and I was like, okay, like I need to really sit down and do this because it keeps coming up. So for today's video, I am going to be showing you guys how I fill in my brows. I like to describe my brows as more of like a natural glam sculpted brow. They're natural, they're glam, and they're sculpted, but they're not in your face. They're not super dark. They're not, I don't know. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. To just narrow everything down for you guys, give you guys some tips, some tricks for you guys to be able to do your brows. I know, brows are a mission. They are a pain. Trust me, sometimes I have days that I'm like, what did I just do to my brows? And I have to wipe it off and start over. It's a process. I've been doing makeup for how long now? Definitely over 10 years. And that's still one of the things that I struggle with. So it's okay. We all have our days where our brows come out perfect and other days where I'm like, yeah. So if you guys want to see how I achieve my brows, then definitely go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so we're just gonna go ahead and jump straight into it. As you can tell, I have nothing on my skin right now. If you're an old subscriber, you know this. If you're a new subscriber, then this is your first time seeing my videos. But I always like to do my brows first. That is the first thing that I do in my makeup routine after skincare is brows. There's many different ways that you can do this. You can do your brows after, during, before makeup. I personally like to do them before. That's just my preference. Brows are very important. They frame your face. So when you do them before, you kind of have like an idea of your eyeshadow, like where it's gonna go and all that. I don't know. That's just how I see it, but you do you. And you do your brows whenever you want to do your brows. This is just how I do my brows. I love an ombre brow. I like for my brows to be lighter in the front, darker in the back, and I do like a sculpted brow. I have tried the fluffy brow. I have tried the only brow gel brow, and they just don't work for me. When I do my makeup, I go all out. So I need to have a brow that matches that look. And this is also a brow that you can customize it and make it more natural or more intense if you want. I hope I'm making sense. Before I go in with my skincare routine, I like to take my brow gel, and I love the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. This is one of the best brow gels I have ever tried. It makes my brows stay down. I have very curly brows. My brows like to go a little bit crazy. This is the only thing that I have found that kind of tames my brows down. So right before I go in with skincare, I do a very thin layer of brow gel. And this is just going to kind of prep our shape for when we go in and shape and fill in our brows. This is just kind of like the first step. You are going to do this. Make sure that before you go in to pencil them in or powder them in, whatever you do, make sure that your brows are nice and dry. Do not want to pencil in or do anything with your brows when they're wet, because it's just going to be like a slippery slide everywhere. You don't want that. I did go in with brow gel right before I did my skincare, so my brows are nice and ready to go. So you are going to see little baby hairs right here from the brows. Please excuse that. I'm letting my brows grow, but I'll show you how I hide the baby hairs, because you don't the hairs are growing in, because when I have my brows done, you can't see them. I always start with a darker pencil. This is the Benefit Precisely My Brow in shade 4.5, and I like to make sure that my brows are brushed up. So I first brush them up, and they should already be in place, because if you applied the brow gel, then your brows should already be good, ready to go. But I always give them a quick brush. So with the darker brow pencil, I start here in the center of the brow. So right at the arch, kind of like when I go up, I kind of have an arch right here. So right there, that is, ooh, that is where I start my brow. So what I first do, the first thing that I do is I underline my natural shape. If you brush your brow hairs up, you're going to see that you have a natural shape. You want to underline that shape because that's what's going to look the best for you. We all have our own shape, so stick to your shape. So mine goes kind of like this. It arches up a little bit, so I'm just going to follow it. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm just going to follow by doing very light strokes. Okay, so how far to take your brow? You want to take your pencil and you're gonna line it up right here at the nostril of your nose and then towards the outer corner of the eye. And that is where you want your brow to stop, right there. So then you know that you can drag out your tail all the way down there. That is my first step. All right, so for the top of the brow, I'm going to brush my hair down. I'm going to pencil in that natural shape that I already have. So right here, and I'm going to connect the outer tail to the bottom. Now I'm going to brush up, and you're gonna see that it kind of comes together. There you go. So what I do next is I just go ahead and fill in the outer tail with the brow pencil. If you want a more natural brow, then don't add so much product, just go in a little bit lighter. But I personally like my outer tail to be nice and dark. And sometimes I make this face, like this mean face, just to make sure I really get up here. Now I'm gonna go in and take the shade 3. And this is a lot lighter than that first shade, and it's also a little bit warmer. I'm gonna start in the bottom, and again, I'm going to underline my natural shape. I'm going to connect it to that dark brown pencil that we used. So I just connected that. Doing very light strokes, I'm going to begin to draw in kind of like hairs. I don't start at the front, I kind of start more towards the center. And then, but this is very light pressure. Very light pressure. I'm going up slightly, and I have my pencil. I'm not going like this. It's to the side, and I'm going up, like little flicks up. And then I slowly work my way to the front of the brow. And now I'm gonna go ahead and take my spoolie, and I like to brush out this line here, just to make sure that it's not super intense. And I brush that product up so that it can blend in a little bit more seamless. Now I'm going to go back in with the shade 4, and I'm going to re-intensify this bottom half. Sometimes when I brush, I kind of lose that product a little bit. So I'm just going to re-intensify that and make sure that I like my shape. I kind of take a step back. Sometimes I have to get like really close to the mirror just to really see what I'm doing. All right, so now the most crucial part for me, at least, and I know a lot of people don't do this, and you can already see the difference between the brows, but this is crucial for me. This next step is something that I have to do, and that it makes a huge difference in the way that the brows look. Like right now, they don't look that great. They look a little messy, a little too thick. It's not the best. You can see the new growth here, and we don't want that. We want to hide all of that. So I'm going to take a concealer, and I'm also taking 2 different concealers. I'm taking a concealer that's lighter than my skin tone, and I'm taking a concealer that it's about the same color as my skin tone. So I'm first going to start with the lightest concealer, and I'm going to take my favorite brush to do this. This is the Alamar Ojitos brush. I don't know the number of this one. It's from the first collection. And I'm going to take some concealer in this brush. And now I'm going to carve out the bottom half of the brow using the lightest concealer. So I'm going to start here in the front, and then I'm going to carve out all the way to the outer corner. And be very, very careful. This part, I know a lot of people don't like it. Some people do like it. I personally love it. So I'm taking a concealer that is the same as my skin tone. You can also use a foundation, the foundation that you're going to use for that day. I like to do a concealer just because it's thinner and it doesn't apply too much product. So I'm going to take that concealer that matches my skin tone with that same brush. And now I'm going to carve out the top of the brow. Now you want to use very little product and then build if you have to, because if you use a lot of product, like a lot of concealer, it kind of tends to cake up and run down to the hair of the brow. So you want to start off with very little product and then work your way in. So I'm going to start here at the top and I kind of like apply most of the concealer there and then slightly, so I go like this. And then with whatever is left, I begin to bring it down, blend it down, and carve out that brow. This step is perfect if you messed up or if you took your brows and made them too thick, if you overlined too much. Concealer is your best friend because it helps you kind of erase whatever you did. It helps you kind of correct that. I see a lot of people do this. Do not box in your brows. You don't have to box them in to get that boxy shape. I go in with the whatever is left on my brush, which is barely nothing at this point, and very slightly, very lightly, I go in like this. Like up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down to create a fade. But do not box them in with a lot of concealer because it just does not look natural. I mean, if that's what you're going for, do you? But for the brow shape that I like just very natural brows. I used to do it all the time and there's videos of that. My old makeup tutorials, my brows were boxed in, but now I like more of like that ombre look where it's like really light, then it gradually gets really dark. So that is what I do. And of course you can go back in with your pencil if you want to and re-intensify that bottom line and make it look a little bit more chiseled, more dark. I like my tail to be super dark, so I always tend to go back in and just darken things up a little bit. Alrighty, so then the last step is brow gel. So I'm going to take my brow gel again and I'm going to set those puppies into place. So I first go in and I brush them up like this, okay? And once they're nice and brushed up, I go in with the smaller side of the brow gel, because if you can tell, this one has two sides. It has a longer bristle side and a shorter side. So I'm going to take the shorter side and I kind of brush this down like this. And I'll make everything come down a little bit and not be standing up. Alrighty, so that is my brow routine. That is the brow routine that I have been doing lately. I really like it. It's not super in your face. It's not super dark or anything. It's ombre. It has a really nice faded look, which I really like, and you can compare one to the other. This one just looks fuller. It still has my same shape, but it looks fuller, it's more sculpted, it looks cleaner. And remember how we had all those little ingrowns that were coming in? I mean, you're gonna be able to see them until you do your eyeshadow, but they're a lot more hidden, like you can barely see them. So if you haven't done your brows for a long time, this is a great technique to kind of go in with concealer and conceal those baby hairs in. And yeah, so this is the finished brow look. Okay, so I went ahead and I did my face makeup. You get to kind of see a better picture of once the face is completed, what the brows end up looking like. And I love the way that I do my brows, and I always get tons of compliments because it's not super like sculpted, dark, very intense brows. It's more of a natural glam brow. That's how I like to describe them. So yeah, this is going to be it, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys found some tips and some tricks, and I hope doing your brows is not a drag from now on, because I know how annoying doing your brows can be and how long the process can be. Trust me, I know it takes forever, but just practice. Practice makes perfect, close to perfect, but just practice. That's pretty much all you can do, and see what works for you and what shape works for you. And if it's not okay, just wipe it off and start over. That's the beauty of makeup. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, as always, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah!